Dr. Couture, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. And first, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about why New Mexico State University you believe is a good fit for you.
Oh, well, thank you for that question. And I think New Mexico State University is a wonderful fit for me and the experience that I'm bringing to this university. I am very attracted by the fact that this is a major research university. I have now had 3 very successful tenures at 3 major research universities in the United States: Wayne State University in Detroit, Washington State University, and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I'm also very attracted by the fact that diversity is a hallmark of New Mexico State University, with a community that emphasizes Hispanic students. We have a Hispanic serving land grant. I think it's the only one in the country. And also a substantial Native American population. My career as a university administrator and as a professor started at Wayne State University in Detroit. Wayne State University at the time was the public university outside of historically black colleges and universities that served the largest number of African American students as undergraduates. And I enjoyed that opportunity to work with that diverse population at Wayne State. I also feel that the land grant mission is very compatible with my interests in higher education. I like the fact that we have faculty who are doing research, who are interested in excellent teaching, and who are interested in bringing their disciplinary knowledge and their research to the state and to this public to help the state of New Mexico and to help us grow as a nation.
As you look at NMSU, what do you see as the major challenges for the university?
Well, there are many challenges for public universities in general. I think I would be remiss to not mention funding. Funding is a challenge for all state universities. We know that we're living in an era where we're having some issues nationwide in terms of the national recession, but we also are living in an era where state governments have many other responsibilities for funding. Funding that involves health care, funding that involves transportation, funding that involves other obligations of state governments, not to mention public education, K through 12. And so our great national universities are in an era where they're finding that they are sometimes the last at the table when it comes to state funding. And so universities are challenged to find new and entrepreneurial ways to find funding to support the best higher education system in the world, which I believe the United States system still is, and which I believe our public universities are a great part of.
What experiences would you say would help you to meet those challenges if you are selected as president here?
I think that I've had a wide variety of experiences, both in identifying funding sources and in managing those sources at the campus level. I have been a college dean of a public university that had those challenges and remains having them, and learned how to work with our faculty and staff in setting priorities to make sure that we were meeting the strategic objectives of the college and offering the very best undergraduate education. I'm working with the University of Nebraska now, as many public universities are, in dealing with our own budget issues in the state of Nebraska. We haven't been hit as hard as some other states, but we do have those challenges too, and we're going through the method of finding ways that we can be more efficient, more effective, more entrepreneurial in the way that we offer our academic programs, and I think those experiences are going to help us meet those challenges. And I've also been working on fundraising, not as much directly at the University of Nebraska. The role that I have is a bit different there, but at Washington State University, when I was Dean of Liberal Arts, I was very actively engaged in fundraising for my college, and would see that to be a major part of my responsibilities here at New Mexico State University.
We've talked about challenges. Want to also give you an opportunity to talk about what areas where you think the university excels.
Well, the fact that The university is a NASA space grant institution, I think is a very big plus. I read recently, and in fact I think it may have been one of the productions of WRKG, that on October 9 there was a space mission that went to the moon that involved our astronomers from New Mexico State University and students who are working on research projects examining the data that is coming back from the moon. This is very, very exciting. New Mexico State University has the opportunity to make connections with the major research labs that are in the state of Mexico. New Mexico State University has some expertise throughout the institution in borderland issues and investigation of borderland issues. There's some remarkable arts programs also at New Mexico State University. I enjoyed, for instance, examining the website of the Department of Music and entering that website and seeing the many wonderful things that were being done by faculty students there. And New Mexico State University, of course, has some leading research in agriculture and work in extension as well. I also think New Mexico State University has a real opportunity in the link that it has to the community colleges that are part of its system. Having a system that involves the community colleges as well as a major research university with a land-grant mission allows this university to do some things with its programming that other institutions that don't have the opportunity to make those connections as readily have.
Okay. Public broadcasting plays a unique role at the university because in addition to educational opportunities, this is the only television station in southern New Mexico, and we also operate the only radio stations that have a significant news and public affairs focus. How do you see public broadcasting as part of the university's mission?
Well, public broadcasting is a very important part of the university's mission. I have been at actually 3 major universities where public broadcasting was a major part of the university mission. WDET, which served Wayne State University in Detroit. At Washington State University, the public broadcasting station there worked very closely with the Edward R. Murrow School of Communication, which had a very fine broadcasting program, and students who worked as interns in the public broadcasting program there. And NET, of course, Nebraska Educational Telecommunications, which offers both television programming and broadcasting program, reports to me at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. We have an extensive program there, as well as an internship program that brings students from the Hickson Lee College of Fine and Performing Arts, from the College of Journalism, and from other programs that are related to communication studies to NET. And my professionals at NET tell me that those students work every bit as professionally as the trained professionals who are there, part of that programming. And it's an extremely important experience for those students. And public broadcasting also carries the message of the university to the public, as well as meeting the other missions that public broadcasting has for the state.
Okay. You've addressed already that for NMSU and for universities all over the country, shrinking state budgets and government support are a really big issue, which also means, as you've said, that private fundraising is very important. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about how, when you do that private fundraising, you ensure that donors don't have an undue influence on the university.
Well, donors are always interested in making a mark. That's why they give their money away. They are often interested in assuring that the money is obviously well spent, that it leaves a legacy of accomplishment. And I think in that respect, working with donors to assure that the legacy of accomplishment that they are trying to support with their funding also meets the goals of the university is one of the jobs of the university president. And how does that get accomplished? It gets accomplished, I believe, by the university president being very clear in establishing with donors and with the public the mission of the university, the vision of the university for the next 5, 10, or 20 years, and the commitment of the faculty in our academic programs to that mission. That's a very critical part of helping donors see their part in forwarding that legacy of the university. Donors always have opportunities to tell universities, too, ways that they might move in directions that perhaps many of the talented people who are there as faculty, staff, and alumni haven't thought of before, and are directions that actually enhance the mission of the university. We've had several examples of that at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I've been very proud to be associated with programs that have had those opportunities.
Okay. Another challenge that is very common all across the country are the concerns that are raised very often by faculty members about the fact that the total percentage of the faculty that are tenured or tenure track has been shrinking. And some, as you know, some folks worry about the effect that that has on academic freedom. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, one of the tenets of tenure, of course, is that it is a protection for academic freedom. I think having a strong program where tenure does protect academic freedom on a campus is part of what creates the atmosphere for academic freedom to flourish on campus. That doesn't mean that one cannot have other ranks of faculty responsibility that are not tenured that also contribute greatly to the university. We have, and many universities do have, lecturers and adjuncts, and in our case we have a rank on our campus called the Professor of Practice, which is a non-tenured rank, in which these faculty are very well integrated in the academic programs of the university, and they are learning their craft in many ways through their association with the very excellent tenure track faculty who are on campus. The variety of those other ranks also allows us to use our tenure track faculty's talents more effectively across the university. And we're finding, as we have new responsibilities that require us to do more service to the community, more outreach, more teaching at a distance, more work with undergraduates on improving their ability to graduate through support programs, that we can't use our tenure track faculty to accomplish all of that work. And some of our workload does need to be distributed across other faculty whose responsibilities are dedicated to some of those other activities. I still believe, however, that a great integration of teaching, research, and service as part of a faculty member's responsibility is what makes the university community strong. Teaching informs research, research informs teaching, and both inform service to the community. So we need to maintain those values, but also understand that faculty work has expanded over the years, and that we need other opportunities and other ways of defining it so we can meet all those objectives.
Okay. You've already addressed the fact that diversity is something that you value, that's very, very important to you, and you've had a lot of experience working on diverse campuses. This is, as you mentioned, a very diverse campus and a diverse community. What are the key ways that you ensure that a campus is welcoming to everybody?
I think it starts with at the top. I think that presidential leadership, the vice presidents of the university, the faculty, all have to be aware of an institution's core values, and diversity has to be at the heart of those core values. Respecting a diversity of perspectives in academic work, respecting a diversity of backgrounds that are brought to the academic workplace by faculty, staff, and by students, and creating a series of activities on the campus that ensure that that diversity is honored and respected. In my case, I have been working most directly and actively on improving our opportunities to recruit and retain a diverse faculty. And I have worked on several programs across the university to meet that objective. and am looking forward to the opportunity to share more about those programs with faculty when I meet them later this week.
Along the lines of recruiting faculty and staff, with cuts in state funding, university employees at NMSU have seen a reduction in pay due to increased employee contributions for retirement. The state budget is expected to be under enormous pressure for years to come. As president, if you were to be selected as president here, would you be willing to take local action to ensure competitive compensation packages when the state falls short?
Well, local action, of course, needs to be defined. We always need to know where the sources of that funding would come from. Certainly, we have to deal with the situation when the state falls short. I think that it's the job of the president to make every possible argument to the state for support of the university. But we're all stressed at this moment in time, and we're going to win some of those arguments, and other times we won't be as successful. That will be the nature of the business. But what it will be the job of the president to do is to find other ways to make those resources count. I talked about encouraging entrepreneurial activity. I'm very pleased to see that New Mexico State University is involved in distance learning. That does provide an opportunity to bring more revenue to the state from outside of the state. I think it's very important to encourage donor interest in supporting student scholarships, to take advantage of all of the foundations out there that are now supporting efforts of students who are first-generation college students to come to the university with extra funding. I think it's very important, too, for us to be as efficient as we possibly can in running our academic enterprise, to assure that we're spending the funding that we do have to support our academic teaching programs and to support high-quality research at the university, and to support outreach that does result in the university contributing to the economic development of the state.
Okay. The compensation issue has a very big effect in this area, as you know, because New Mexico State is the area's largest employer. As a result, the university continues to expand, doing partnerships that are aimed at economic development, working with local governments, school districts, other partners. What experience do you have in that area with partnerships in your administrative positions at other universities?
Well, there are various ways that one can handle partnerships between the university and other entities. In our Jeffrey S. Rake School of Computer Science and Management, we have a partnership with a number of outside donors who are working to provide scholarships for our Rake School students. The Rake School has managed to attract students to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln who could go virtually to any school in the country to receive their education, and we are able to offer full scholarships and room and board to these students, and it's as a result of partnerships with donors who have supported the program. A lead gift, of course, by the person after whom the school was named is an important part of that project. My contribution to that was to assure that we were providing a high quality program, that the state was supporting the portions of the program that the state could support, which is the teaching component of the program, so the donors could feel comfortable in providing the direct support to the students. It was a partnership of funding that has been extremely successful for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I've also been working on some international partnerships with universities in China. Those of you who read about education in China know that China, of course, is a burgeoning country with great educational needs. China cannot meet the educational needs of the undergraduates that it has, and it is looking at this point in time to institutions outside of China to help educate its young people. And we have partnerships with two major universities in China, top universities, that bring students to our university after spending 2 years in China at the Chinese university. We have a comprehensive partnership with each of those universities that involves research partnerships with the faculty as well. So I've had experience in a variety of ways with partnership. I've also had partnerships at the community level. We are working on an incipient partnership with downtown Lincoln and several faculty who are working on ways to, downtown Lincoln is working on ways to encourage economic development and retail development on a couple of main streets in Lincoln. And we're working with those city leaders to find ways to connect with faculty who can provide services, as well as students who can provide services that can help young entrepreneurs in Lincoln. So there are a number of ways that a university can work on partnerships that help create partnerships for funding. We also have a very large project that is coming up. I'm on the steering committee for Nebraska Innovation Campus. There are many great university leaders who are involved in that project now. But this will create a major innovation third campus that joins our city campus and our east campus and will be a public-private partnership.
Okay. Well, finally, it's often said that we grow the most from our hardships in life and in our careers. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about challenges that you've faced in your career and what you've taken away from those challenges.
Well, one of the challenges I faced early in my career as a faculty member was the different attitudes that people had toward female instructors as opposed to male instructors. Now that change has been occurring over many years now in academe, and the first challenge I had was with my own department. I found that I was not being paid at the same level as some male professors in the department, and I had a very wise department chair who worked to rectify that situation. But what I realized was that a lot more work needed to be done in understanding how both men and women can contribute to academe and to so many other professions across the United States and meet so many needs that the U.S. has to have talented young people in those professions. We need to grow our own in the United States now. In the middle of the country in particular, in some areas where we're losing population, that isn't occurring here in Las Cruces, but it is in the middle of the country. It's critical to make sure that all of our talented young people have opportunities to contribute to society, either to the economy or to the development of local communities, which means we need to give those opportunities to women and to people of color and to all of those in our society who sometimes haven't always been the first chosen. I've worked through those issues, I think, in my own life by being very actively involved in university projects that help to create those opportunities for faculty members and for students.
Dr. Couture, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.